Hello everyone, I'm Ritu Gangele. I'm a Supreme Court lawyer and today I would be discussing with you all the rights of an arrested person. The term arrest is undefined in the Criminal Procedure Code or any other statute of law. In layman's sense, it may mean restriction, apprehension or deprivation of one's personal liberty. But in legal sense, it means taking into custody of a person by an authority empowered by law in order to detain him or her, to answer a criminal charge against him or her, or to prevent commission of a criminal offence. Section 41 of the Criminal Procedure Code entrusts this very important power to police officers, which is the power to arrest. Interestingly, this section starts with the words may arrest, which means that this power is not absolute or mandatory but is discretionary and should be exercised in a judicious manner and should not be exercised arbitrarily. A police officer cannot make an arrest on mere suspicion of a crime or information. The police officer has to justify the arrest and should have all the evidences to support the arrest and should be made only after proper investigation. Moving on, an arrestee always has an assumption of innocence till the end of trial. So, which is why an arrestee has been given several rights by the Criminal Procedure Code, Constitution of India and several Supreme Court judgments that can help in a fair trial. One such right is the right to remain silent. Even though not expressly provided in the Constitution of India, it was propounded by Justice Malamuth Committee. Now, this right ensures that a person does not self-incriminate him or herself to a crime. This right ensures that in case an arbitrary arrest has been made, a person has the right to remain silent. Even the statements which are self-incriminating in nature or confession made to a police officer is inadmissible in a court of law as evidence. This is a very important right, and a person has the right to a legal practitioner of his or her own choice until the time the legal practitioner is present with him or her. The person has the right to remain silent. This means that the person cannot be an evidence is in his or her own case. This also gives a right to fair trial to the arrestee. Moving on, the second right is the right to know the grounds of arrest. No police officer can make an arrest without informing the arrestee of the complete charges and grounds of such arrest. This is a very important right, and no police officer can just make an arrest on mere information. The person has to establish with evidence and proper investigation that the crime has been committed and only follow the arrest after such investigation and completion of evidence. Moving on, the fourth is the right to be taken before a magistrate without a delay. This is a very important right, as a person cannot be detained in a police station and can be detained only in a police station for more than 24 hours. You have to remember that police stations are not prisons or jail. They are only there so that a person can be restrained or detained till the criminal charge is answered or for prevention of commission of crime. Which is why a person has to be presented in front of a magistrate or police officer in charge of the police station within 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time of travel. The fourth right is information regarding the right to be released on bail. As soon as an arrest is made, if in case of a bailable offence, the person has the right to be released on bail, and such rights have to be informed to him or her by the police officer making such an arrest. Right to not be detained for more than 24 hours without judicial scrutiny, which I elaborated before, that a person cannot be detained in a police station for more than 24 hours. If a person is detained in a police station for more than 24 hours, then the police officer can be held accountable for unlawful detention of such an arrestee. The sixth right is the right of trial. every arrestee has a right of fair trial, whether it is in camera proceedings or whether it is affording the legal practitioner of his or her own choice. In 2010, interestingly, Supreme Court also made narco-analysis and brain mapping inadmissible as evidence in court of law. Moving on, the seventh right is the right to consult a legal practitioner. This right is very important to an arrestee. An arrestee, if is an indigent person, has also the right to free legal aid, which should be informed to him or her by the police officer. This is a very important right, as no person should be presented without a legal practitioner of his or her own choice who is incapable of defending her or his own case. The eighth right is the right of free legal aid, which I just explained to you about. The person, if is incapable of defending his or her own case, has the right of free legal aid. Even if the person is an indigent person or cannot afford a legal practitioner of his or her own choice, the government provides with free legal aid to such persons. And even though if a person has not applied to such free legal aid, it is no defense. The person has to be informed of free legal aid at the time of arrest by the police officer and of all the means to go about procuring such free legal aid to his behest. The ninth right is the right to be examined by a medical practitioner. In case a person is arrested and a person's body can bear evidence that the crime was not committed by him or her, the arrestee can make a request for medical examination by a legal practitioner. Now, in this case, this can prove a lot of things: the mental stability of the person at the commission of crime, if the person was of sound mind or unsound mind, or even though if the person committed the crime in a form of self-defense. If there is any such request made, the police officer has to comply by such request, and the arrestee is supposed to be examined by a proper medical practitioner. The last right, but not the least, is the right of the accused to produce an evidence. This is a right provided to an arrestee in case there is cross-examination. The arrestee can provide for evidence or can even cross-examine an adverse evidence which is being provided against him or her. These being the rights provided by the Criminal Procedure Code. There are many other such rights that the police officer should follow at the time of an arrest. Like, the police officer must be able to justify the arrest apart from his power to be able to do so. No arbitrary arrest or on mere suspicion or information can be made. It is different for heinous crimes, or if a crime is committed in front of the police officer, or in crimes related to drugs or other psychotropic substances. But in any other cases, the police officer must be able to justify such arrest. Also, an arrest is not always important. In cognizable cases for which a person's jail term sentence is for 7 years or less, it is not important to make arrest in such cases. Example can be dowry deaths. The maximum jail sentence is of 7 years, and a police officer is not mandated to make an arrest in such case. Moving on, if a petitioner is involved in 5 cognizable cases or more, only then a police officer can make an arrest without a warrant. Otherwise, a warrant is important as it is an evidence to the justification of the arrest. Also, a person is not always important to be handcuffed. A person has to only be handcuffed when there is justification to do so, because it is very important to establish that at the time of an arrest, a person's self-esteem and dignity that the person maintains in the society is to be maintained, because the arrestee follows with a presumption of innocence till the end of trial. The arrestee is not an accused just on mere arrest or detention. Till the end of the trial, until and unless so adjudicated by the court of law, the arrestee is always on the suspicion of being an innocent person. I hope this was helpful to you in any everyday cases or in a legal sense. Thank you.